Hey YouTube, what's up? It's CS back here with another installment, and here's my review for UFC on FX Maynard versus Guida. Holy crap, guys, weird night of fights. Still, in my opinion, better than the last card, which I predicted in my predictions video. But hey, that doesn't mean much. I'm pretty sure all of us thought that this was going to be a step up from the last card. But damn, there's definitely some things that we have to address. Let's start off with that main event, shall we, between lightweights Clay Guida and Gray Maynard. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I initially had Clay Guida winning that fight, but then I rewatched those rounds, specifically 3, 4, and 5. Like, I'm pretty sure I watched round 3 like 1.5 times. I gave that one to Gray Maynard, and then I gave 4 and 5 to Gray Maynard. So, yeah, I gave it to him 48-47. You know what I'm saying? Initially, I thought Clay kind of snuck away with the third round, but yeah, watching that again, I don't think he did. Guys, what did Clay Guida do to win the first 2 rounds? You know, of course, he was doing a lot of lateral movement. A heck of a whole lot of it. He'd move to the right, he'd move to the left, he'd move in, land a flurry, and then move to the right or left. And this was pissing Gray Maynard the fuck off. And, you know, he was maintaining his composure in terms of, you know, not trying to be frustrated by it. But, of course, he kind of snapped in round 4 where he was, like, telling Clay to hit him in the head and shit. And, of course, Dan Rigliotta actually gave Clay a warning for not fighting. Because it got to a point, come the later part of the fight, that Clay wasn't, you know, landing anything come those rounds. You know what I'm saying? He'd move in and out, and sometimes he wouldn't even throw a flurry. So it was just weird as hell, you know, Clay neglecting to fight. And out of most Greg Jackson fighters, you know, I didn't expect that out of Clay Guida on the feet, at least. You know, I expect that out of Clay Guida on the ground. And since his hair's everywhere and shit, it makes it look like he's doing something. So, you know, I expect that out of Clay Guida. But for him to do Carlos Condit on the feet was, like, kind of weird. But I didn't score him to fight unlike I did Carlos Condit, because Carlos Condit was actually landing flurries throughout the fight. You know what I'm saying? He would, you know, if not, you know, a combination with his hands, it was mostly, you know, leg kicks, because Nick Diaz did not check one of those. And Clay Guida wasn't throwing any of those. And Clay Guida wasn't even throwing combinations come the later part of the round. So, yeah, I definitely had Gray Maynard taking 4 and 5. And then, you know, I thought he edged the third round. So, Clay Guida, I thought, lost. You know what I'm saying? But again, because, you know, I had that fight in my head. And then, you know, I was watching that fight on the fly between, you know, Gray and Clay. I initially scored it for Clay Guida. Real talk. So, I'll admit it. But again, when I rewatched the fight, specifically, you know, third round on, I'm like, wow, Gray got this, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, close fight, but, you know, I think Gray did enough. Real talk. That's my opinion on that. Weird fight to call. Damn, I'm still stunned. You know, I can't believe what we just witnessed. It's not a fight I want to see again. You know, I don't know what they do with Clay Guida now. Gray Maynard, if he wants a contender, does he deserve one? Yeah, I'd say, you know, but what are you going to do? Put him in a rematch against Nate Diaz? So I think they put him up against Anthony Pettis. I think that makes sense. Actually, I do know what they should do with Clay Guida. Clay Guida versus Jim Miller. I'm not sure how much running he does there. That would be a good fight if they both feel like committing. Again, I'm not sure how I feel about this shit. Machiavellian side of me is saying, hey, I kind of applaud guys for trying to do game plans as whack as they are visually. But the fan in me, and I think the moral side of me, is saying, this is mixed martial arts. The word martial refers to war, combat. And Clay Guida did not do a lot of it in this fight, in my opinion. So, yeah, a part of me thinks this shit's wrong. I think it does have to be looked at. The fact that this style could win, you know, I really don't think is a good look for MMA. This is the main event of a free card that is supposed to appeal to, of course, mainstream viewers who aren't going to pay for the UFC pay-per-views, you know what I'm saying? And then they watch this, and I'm not sure how much more interested they're going to be, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'd like to see a little bit of this kind of shit being reviewed by the UFC and athletic commissions. I'm not sure if it should go on. Greg Jackson, you know, I applaud what you do, but, you know, this shit's got to stop for real. My opinion. But now, I think I've had enough about talking this main event. Let's go to the co-main event between guys who did not shy away from each other. Lightweights Spencer Fisher and Sam Stout. Alright folks, decent way to end the trilogy. Spencer Fisher was actually outstriking Sam Stout while he was on the feet. You know, he would get in close, land those combinations, and if Sam Stout tried to commit by landing a combination from the right or left side, Spencer Fisher was, you know, knocking him back with that hook, you know, and Sam Stout was kind of leaning into it at times when that fight was on the feet. However, Sam Stout would want him to fight were the takedowns in each round. You know, I thought Sam Stout plateaued in terms of his game, but he's definitely trying to add to it. He did have problems with Spencer Fisher on the feet in their second fight, and Spencer, of course, you know, outstruck him in all 3 rounds there. So, you know, why not try to take Spencer Fisher down? I thought that if it went to the ground on anyone's accord, I thought Spencer Fisher would be, you know, ready. Guess he wasn't. I know Spencer Fisher used to have submission game off his back. I was kind of waiting for something cool to happen, but no, it didn't. And Spencer Fisher, just looking at that, is definition of, you know, a shot fighter. You know, Spencer Fisher would have been ready for anything, in my opinion, come 4 or 5 years ago. He was a well-rounded mixed martial artist who tried to finish no matter where it went. You know, I think I said that in my prediction video. One of the more exciting guys at the time, definitely one of my favorite fighters at the time. And I think he should retire, real talk, because now he's getting out-wrestled by Sam Stout. Not a good look, you know. But then again, I thought Sam Stout would outstrike Spencer Fisher on feet. He didn't. So props to Spencer Fisher for that. But, you know, I'm not sure what else he has to offer. You know, that third fight with Sam Stout, I know he wanted. He didn't get it. So he ain't going to make another run at anything. So I think he should just stick to training fighters or cornering guys. I'm not sure what he has to do in the UFC. What else? You know, he's done. But Sam Stout, props to him for trying to augment his game, but I still think it's a little bit too late. Because he ain't going to do that to some of the bulls in the lightweight division nowadays. Look well-rounded, you know. We saw a nice level change from him in the second round with that takedown, but he ain't going to do that against, you know, some of the bulls out there like Jim Miller, or a Gray Maynard, or any other wrestler, Michael Johnson. You know, he ain't going to pull that shit off, in my opinion. But still, props to him for trying. But then again, it's against a shot Spencer Fisher. So happy trails to Spencer Fisher in whatever he does, and decent win for Sam Stout. Alrighty, folks, now let's move on to that welterweight matchup between Brian Ebersol and TJ Waldberger. Guys, TJ Waldberger's a beast on the ground. He has some sick submissions, really slick with them arm bars or anything arm lock-wise, and he knows how to get people's backs. Yeah, he can attack from all kinds of positions. He's nuts, and I thought that if he hit the ground, especially on his own accord, I thought that it would be, you know, lights out for Brian Ebersol. You know, Ebersol got knocked down by TJ Waldberger in the first round and then almost got finished. Not exactly almost, but, you know, Waldberger had him in some tight submissions, but, you know, Ebersol able to weather a storm, escape out of him, finish the round strong. However, come the next 2 rounds, you know, he didn't get caught in anything. He was outstriking Waldberger on defeat, and when he did choose to get to the ground for whatever reason, he wasn't getting subbed, and he was actually landing some decent ground and pound. So, good for Brian Ebersol to essentially beat TJ Waldberger everywhere come the last 2 rounds. So, yeah, you know, nice win for him. What's next for him? No idea. You know, he's a solid fighter, veteran in the sport. You know, he can beat some guys in different areas. You know, he's a well-rounded dude. He's kind of exciting. Crazy cartwheel kicks. Yeah, I don't know who I want to see him face. Maybe a gatekeeper like Mike Pyle comes to mind. I don't know. As for someone like TJ Waldberger, him versus Claude Patrick, I think would be a fun fight. But yeah, good fight from Brian Ebersol. I don't know what else to say about it. And now let's move on to that lightweight matchup between Cub Swanson and Ross Pearson. Damn. Ross Pearson, I don't know what to say. Fucking got caught in the second round, neck up, running forward, and Cub was able to drop him with those punches. You know, I believe it was a cross or some shit, and Ross Pearson got caught stanky legging and ate another punch. Damn, don't know what to say. Because Ross Pearson was actually winning that first round, you know what I'm saying? I thought Cub would because he's ultra aggressive. The guy's a dynamic fighter, swings for defenses, but he doesn't exactly look as sloppy as Leonard Garcia. You know, he hits hard too, and on the ground he has some skills. You know, he's aggressive with the subs. He's trying to finish no matter what. He's a pretty exciting, dynamic fighter. I do like his fighting style. I think he's very exciting to watch. And it troubled me when I saw him lose the first round against Ross Pearson. I'm like, all right, Ross Pearson's got this in the bag then, because I thought he was just going to fight like that for the rest of the fight. He got a little reckless in round 2, and of course, again, he got dropped and finished. Stanky leg. Cub Swanson for the win. That was nice. That was classy. What's next for Cub Swanson? I'd like to see him beat Dennis Siver. I think that'd be a fun fight. Dennis Siver looked like a beast in featherweight in his debut against Diego Nunes. I think that'd be a fun fight. If Ross Pearson can beat Dennis Siver, I'd like to see Cub Swanson try to. As for Ross Pearson, what's next for him? Diego Nunes comes to mind. I don't know. I think he can make a number of matches for Ross Pearson. We'll see. He got caught in this fight looking stupid. So I don't know what else to say. Solid win for Cub Swanson. Alrighty, folks. Now let's move on to the preliminary card and run through it really fast, starting with Hatsuyoki and Ricardo Lamas in featherweight. And guys, in my opinion, along with Alexander Emelianenko, Hatsuyoki, one of the biggest wastes in MMA history. Easily, one of the biggest wastes of talent. God damn, I wish he just felt like fucking fighting harder, He's a methodical fighter. He likes to pick his shots from the outside. He likes to systematically out-grapple you, on the ground. He has nice transitions, and he has nasty mountain triangles. However, he just, feels like doing this kind of stuff against ragdolls, in my opinion. If you feel like showing some energy against him, if you feel like slightly fighting back, he kind of completely shuts off. Maybe not completely, but he just stops being the aggressor. We saw that in this round 2 and 3 of this fight. Round 3 was all Lamas. Of course, Hioki was doing all that I said he could have in the first round, but in round 2, when it was ultra close, you kind of have to give it to Ricardo Lamas, in my opinion, because Ricardo Lamas was actually trying to be offensive with the guillotine attempts, and because Hatsuyoki was on top of Lamas for the most of that round, it was because of those guillotine attempts. That lazy-ass takedown probably would have got stuffed if it wasn't for Ricardo Lamas thinking he could submit Hatsuyoki. So I kind of have to give Hioki no points for that shit. Well, just 9, and give Lamas 10. So, again, I scored a 29-28 for Lamas. I'm not sure how good Lamas really is against someone who will actually take the fight to him. We've seen him against Cub Swanson. He looked pretty good in that fight. I think he's a pretty solid talent. I think he's a well-rounded kid. I'd like to see what he can do against Eric Koch, someone else who I thought was overrated that shouldn't have got a title shot. So, yeah, I'd like to see maybe a contenders match there. As for Hioki, maybe Chad Mendes. I'd like to see what he could do against another guy who could push the pace up on him, and probably even harder for sure. So I don't know what to say about Hatsuyoki. Overrated, and it's overrated because of how he fights his fights. I'm not doubting his talents because, again, I think he's one of the biggest wastes of talents in MMA history. I think he's definitely a top 3 talent-wise in that division, but he just ain't fighting like it. This is my opinion on that. I think I've ranted about Hatsuyoki a little bit too much there. Now let's move on to that catchweight 157-pound bout between Ramsey Najem and CJ Keith. Ramsey Najem versus someone who can't make weight regional level competition. Ramsey Najem for the win, first round TKO. Rick Story versus Brock Jardine. Rick Story did his thing, takedowns, some stand-up, mostly takedowns. Yeah, 30-27, Rick Story. Steven Saller versus Joey Gambino. Steven Saller is kind of a beast. He don't look like a fighter, and I'm sure he's been told that several times. But when he got in that cage, some mean streak developed as soon as the bell rang, because he just rocked that boy's ass. Joey Gambino got him that nice guillotine after, transitioning from mount. That was kind of crazy. Nice bloodbath win from Steven Saller. Damn, basically beat that boy everywhere. Chris Camozzi versus Nick Catone. Nick Catone was in control of that fight, pretty much winning the fight everywhere, takedown, stand up, but Chris Camozzi won via cut. I've seen worse cuts stop a fight before. I haven't seen worse cuts stop a fight before. I've seen worse cuts go on for longer, but apparently Catone couldn't see, I think, or I don't know. He wasn't debating the decision to stop the fight that hard, so I don't know. Maybe Catone was cool with it, and if he was, then he deserved to lose, which is sad because he was winning that fight. Matt Brown versus Luis Ramos. Matt Brown versus regional level Brazilian competition. Matt Brown wins. Dan Miller versus Ricardo Funch. Again, regional level Brazilian competition in Ricardo Funch. However, it was Ricardo Funch's most competitive bout yet in the UFC. And that's because Dan Miller was just coming down to 170. I'd like to see if Dan Miller could, look better in his future 170-pound bouts. He kind of started to fade in round 3, but he was able to get that guillotine in, so props to him for doing so. He loves that thing. And then last but not least, to break down, Ken Stone versus Dustin Pegg. Close fight, could have gone either way. Decent way to start off the night. You know, two guys who are maybe above regional level going at it, and Ken Stone came out on top, so nice win for him. But there it is, guys. I think that about does it for me in terms of what I have to say about UFC on FX. Maynard versus Guida. Damn eventful night. Again, step up from the last card. Not the greatest card still, but I'll take it for a free card if it's anything better than, you know, McCall Johnson. So, yeah, whatever. You know, it was a night of fights. It was free. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it here and there. Again, I just didn't hate on it as much as the last card. So, whatever. I'll see you for my review for UFC 147. Silver vs. Franklin 2. That should be fun. That should be really exciting, actually. You know, again, it ain't getting a lot of love because of its lack of star power, but it should be, you know, a nice, fast-paced jungle fight style kind of card with some superstars, but again, it shouldn't be a pay-per-view. That's pretty much all I have against it. But whatever, I'll see you for that card, and I hope you guys enjoyed again. Thank you for all the support once again. Deuces for all my supporters, Bruce for all my haters, and take care.